AI and Instructional Design. Elizabeth Trenta.
All right, well, welcome everyone to Utilizing AI Tools to Design and Develop Engaging Online Compliance Training for UW staff, faculty, and students by Corey Schmidbauer and Lily Sullivan. Lily specializes in AI-enabled learning systems and scaling compliance training workflows with a focus on integrating generative AI into course development while maintaining accessibility, governance, and instructional quality. And then Corey brings more than 15 years of higher ed experience, is passionate about designing engaging, accessible learning experiences grounded in learning theory, user experience, and quality assurance. Together, they support innovative, high impact digital learning initiatives across campus. And so we will have this be a pre-recorded presentation. We won't have time for questions at the end, but please feel free to put them in the chat and I will send that to Corey and Lily to respond to at a later date. But at this time, I will turn it over to Corey.
Corey.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here today, and I will let myself introduce myself, and you'll know what I mean in just a few moments.
Articulate AI Assistant, Compliance Training. She clicks play. Hope.
Hello. Welcome to this presentation on utilizing AI tools to design and develop engaging online compliance training for UW-Madison staff, faculty, and students. My name is Hope, and I am an AI avatar. Before we begin this talk, I want to introduce the two real-life humans who created this presentation.
The video of Corey Schmidbauer plays.
Hi, everyone. My name is Corey Schmidbauer, and I'm an instructional designer on the Learn at UW team in Do It Academic Technology, and I've been with the university for the past 6 years. As part of my role, I utilize educational technology to create engaging programs that incorporate best practices of adult learning theory and design, user experience, and accessibility. In the wake of AI assistive tools, I have been exploring how they can verify content and improve instructional alignment. I hope you enjoy this collaborative presentation between myself and my colleague, Lily Sullivan. Take it away, Lily.
Corey smiles and Lily Valababa Sullivan appears.
Hello, my name is Lily Valley Baba Sullivan, and I am an instructional designer with Learn at UW. I have been here for over 2 years, and I am very excited to join you today to talk about this new technology in the educational world. I have not personally seen this much buzz and excitement since the virtual reality and simulation stuff took place a couple years back, which were great for skill learning and skill development. I can't wait to see where AI takes us. I am on a learning curve and educational journey, just like the rest of you as we move into this topic. So please sit back, enjoy, and hopefully Corey and I will be bringing you some new information and helpful information. So thank you for allowing us to be here today, and let's begin.
Lily grins. Hope takes over.
Now that you know real people are behind the curtain, both Corey's and Lily's voices will be substituted by AI voiceover that was generated from a text-to-speech feature within Articulate 360 AI Assistant software. Within the past year alone, AI is being increasingly integrated into learning design tools and authoring platforms. Our goals today will be to explore how AI tools can accelerate the development of non-credit compliance training, examine the benefits and limitations of importing PowerPoint content into AI-assisted authoring tools, and provide best practices for responsible AI use in instructional design.
Example, UHSHR training.
Let's consider a project that Corey recently transitioned from a static compliance training into something more dynamic and engaging. In this case, training content already existed in the form of multiple PowerPoint slide decks. This training is provided by University Health Services. It was originally hosted in the Canvas LMS and will be transitioned to the Workday LMS. It is required to be completed annually by different groups, including healthcare personnel, non-healthcare personnel, students, and some non-UHS employees. Tell us more about this project, Corey.
First, I want to thank Liz Valentine and Amy John in UHS for granting permission to showcase their training. In this example, I specifically utilized the Articulate Rise 360 AI Assistant. The process I present here can also be used for other projects, as well as by other AI assistant tools and chatbots, which can assist with several tasks, including converting course content, creating quiz questions, summarizing policies, and reorganizing content into cohesive activities.
AI workflow for RISE 360.
This is a typical AI assistant-supported workflow using RISE 360. First, we upload the existing PowerPoint, if there is one available, into RISE 360 to establish the initial course structure. Next, we use the AI assistant to expand slide bullets into full lesson content. This helps transition from presentation-style material into self-paced learning content. From there, AI can generate knowledge checks aligned to the lesson content, giving us a starting point for assessment. At that stage, the instructional designer steps in to revise the content, ensuring alignment to learning objectives and adding meaningful interactions. Once the structure and content are in place, the subject matter expert reviews for compliance accuracy, including policy interpretation and regulatory terminology. Finally, the instructional designer incorporates SME feedback and formats the course for accessibility to meet required standards. This workflow allows us to move efficiently while maintaining control over quality, accuracy, and learner experience.
Prompting RISE 360 AI Assistant.
So let's take a closer look at the process for uploading and converting content. For the most part, the next few slides will only cover steps 1 and 2 of the workflow process. First, I uploaded the PowerPoint file to RISE. Even though there were multiple slide decks, I chose to experiment with only one slide deck to begin with. This particular deck was 76 slides and contained 2 separate parts of content. Before I proceeded to generate the course, which only took 2 to 3 minutes, I entered the following prompt. Generate 2 lessons from the uploaded PowerPoint slides. One lesson should be about Part A training, infection control for all UHS staff. The second lesson should be about Part B training, infection control for clinical staff. Structure each lesson in order of the content presented in each of the PowerPoints. Use appropriate heading structures and interactivity to present the content in an engaging manner. Do not change the language. Keep the language the same for compliance.
Source material.
Then I continued from the source material section to course details, where the tool asked how long I wanted the course to be. If you recall, the prompt that I entered specifically told the tool to generate 2 lessons, so I selected the option for a short course length that included 1 to 3 lessons. From the prompt and the PowerPoint slide deck that I uploaded, the AI assistant generated course information, such as course topic, tone, audience, and goals. The course information section is for internal use within the assistant tool itself and can be edited. For this example, I chose not to edit this information. The AI assistant tool also generated learning objectives based upon the prompt and uploaded content. It is important to review these to ensure they are actionable, measurable, and relevant to the uploaded materials. In this case, the AI assistant generated many objectives, so I won't show all of them, but you can edit them as well as prompt the tool provide fewer objectives, and it will consolidate and rewrite them. If you are not certain about your learning objectives up front, you can always change these later within the individual lessons.
Course outline, lessons 1 and 2.
Next, the AI assistant took me to a course outline. If you recall, I prompted the tool to only generate 2 lessons. And it did! Lesson 1 is Part A, Core Infection Control Practices, and Lesson 2 is Part B, Advanced Infection Control Practices. I won't go into the other details of each lesson, but the tool outlined the title, description, and topics within each lesson based on my prompt and the content within the PowerPoint slide deck.
Content options and lesson drafts.
Now it's time to finally generate our course. The tool provides an option to generate the lessons as text and interactive content, or as text only. I chose text and interactive content. The tool also asks if I want AI-generated images to be added. Since I am curious to see what kind of images the system generates, I opt to use this feature. I will not discuss AI image generation too deeply or go into the ethics of this feature in this presentation, but I will say that some of the images are really good, and I've kept them within the course. Other images are random and do not accurately reflect the content. So right now it's kind of 50-50. The good news is that you do not have to keep any images that you do not like, and can certainly add your own images to the lessons. To finally generate my course, I selected the Create Course Draft button. The process only took 2 to 3 minutes to create and design the 2 lessons. While 2 to 3 minutes seems like a really long time these days, it is merely a blip of time within the bigger picture of instructional design and development.
Example, types of PPE.
Here is an example of Step 4, where an instructional designer revises content and adds or adjusts interactions. The image on the left depicts a flashcard activity about personal protective equipment, or PPE, in clinical settings. This activity was generated by the AI assistant. What I like about this generation is that the tool incorporated instructional text prior to the activity. While flashcards are useful to provide quick information, they have limited space to present that information. Anything longer than 1 to 2 sentences can negatively impact user experience when the card is flipped over. Since we want to elaborate on the use of specific PPE, such as gloves, masks, gowns, and eye protection, a flashcard activity is not quite appropriate. Luckily, the AI assistant is able to instantly convert the flashcards to a different activity. In this case, I chose the process activity to chunk the content better while also expand on the topic. This is a quick 3-step action within the editor. First, I select the AI magic or sparkle icon, then select Instant Convert, and finally, select my choice of conversion. There are many other activity options to choose from, but I chose Process.
Types of PPE and when to use them.
Here is the final product. There is the title of Types of PPE and when to use them. The image of various PPE, including a folded gown, face shield, surgical mask, goggles, and gloves, is AI generated. This is an example when AI did a good job of providing a clear and relevant image for the topic. Below the image is introductory text, as well as instructions about how to participate in the process activity, which allows space to expand on each type of PPE. Keep in mind that this is only one example. I went through each of the 2 lessons and compared them to the content presented in the PowerPoint slide deck to ensure consistency. At this time, my project and collaboration with UHS is still in progress and is currently in Step 5, where subject matter experts review and verify the information. Once this phase is complete, as the ID, I will discuss any questions and feedback with the SMEs. Then, I will make updates accordingly and format the training to meet accessibility regulations.
Advantage of AI assistance in general.
Utilizing the AI assistant tool certainly made it easier to convert the bullet points of the PowerPoint into an online learning module with interactive elements. It was also relatively fast. Of course, speed did depend on the size of the PowerPoint. For instance, a 76-slide deck took longer than a 34-slide deck. AI can also generate lesson text from minimal information, as well as help standardize tone and structure, as well as create knowledge checks based on the imported content. In addition to the advantages that were already presented, one advantage that is specific to Articulate Rise 360 is the ability to convert interactive elements with the click of a button. For instance, I can convert an accordion into a flashcard activity and vice versa, or transition a list into a process. There are a variety of different options. Furthermore, the software will add your newly converted activity below the original, so you can choose which one to keep. You can simply delete the version that you do not like.
Limitations of AI assistance.
Despite the advantages, there are limitations from an instructional design perspective to consider. The most important is, AI-generated or converted content is not always accurate. With bullet points on a slide deck, AI assistant software can hallucinate context to provide. This is especially critical when interpreting regulations or legal language. Compliance training requires precise wording, and errors could lead to misunderstandings or regulatory issues. This is why following proper quality assurance processes through human review and subject matter expert validation are essential before publishing AI-generated content to the broader public. With Rise 360 in particular, I noticed it did not create quizzes when prompted, but rather only generated knowledge checks within the lesson itself. An additional limitation is that many of these knowledge check questions were elementary, in that they did not evaluate critical thinking skills. This tool also lacked the ability to auto-generate scenario activities, so I turned to Google Gemini to create both higher-order thinking quiz questions as well as branching scenarios based on the content. I further prompted the chatbot to provide different answer options with specific feedback.
A finger touches a panel with multiple icons.
So far, we have presented a foundation of how to approach an AI assistant tool as an instructional designer. The example that we presented is primarily tool-focused or tool-dependent. Yes, there is some human engagement in the beginning with a prompt and editing the setup information, as well as the editing and updating content post-generation. But it is important to note that tools will choose algorithms without deliberately choosing the best practice. AI is also coded to please us humans. So what does it look like when human knowledge interjects and corrects AI outputs? Lily has been conducting case use and independent research on how to bypass what a novice-level AI user encounters and how to circumvent the pitfalls Corey experienced in her case use.
Through my research, I found that the key to effectively integrating AI into instructional design lies in understanding both its capabilities and limitations. For instance, while AI can rapidly generate a multitude of ideas and frameworks, it's crucial for humans to step in to refine and ensure accuracy.
Brains.
In Corey's experience, she initially relied heavily on AI-generated content, which led to some misalignments with the intended learning objectives. By taking a more active role in evaluating the AI outputs, she was able to align them more closely with the course goals. My approach has been to use AI as a collaborative partner rather than a sole content creator.
Code.
By consistently reviewing and revising AI-generated content, I've been able to maintain the integrity of the instructional material while still benefiting from the efficiency and creativity AI offers. This approach not only enhances the learning experience, but also ensures that the final product is both engaging and educationally sound. This can be accomplished through front-loading, documents of truth, and constant prompt revision, and having the AI prompt the user to provide certain pieces of information that are relevant to complete the prompt as directed.
Text. AI is a tool.
When we talk about using AI in compliance training, we need to clearly define the relationship between the instructional designer and the tool. AI is not the designer. It can function as a drafting partner, a content organizer, or even a project manager, but it remains a tool for human use. We use AI to accelerate early-stage work, brainstorming structure, generating initial content, and summarizing dense policy language. This gets us to a starting point faster, but it is not the finished product. In practice, we shift time from front-end production into back-end refinement. The instructional designer is responsible for shaping that output, ensuring clarity, aligning it to learning objectives, and grounding it in learning science, not just presenting information. In compliance training, this interaction becomes more critical. AI can organize and expand content, but it does not understand institutional risk, nuance, or regulatory intent. So the workflow must be deliberate. AI produces a draft, and the human evaluates, rewrites, and aligns. That interaction between speed and judgment is what allows us to scale without compromising accuracy or instructional quality. And critically, This only works when the process is front-loaded. What you give the AI determines what you get back.
AI in use. A brain and a light bulb.
This is where AI becomes most effective, when it is applied to structured learning elements, not just content generation. For learning objectives, AI can help draft initial statements, but those must be refined to ensure they are measurable and aligned to outcomes, because everything in the course should map back to them. For content organization or chunking, AI can break down dense material and suggest structure, allowing us to sequence content for self-paced learning and remove unnecessary redundancy. For interactive elements, AI can generate scenarios and decision points, but the instructional designer ensures those activities require action and are directly tied to the objectives. And for knowledge checks and summaries, AI can produce assessments and reinforcement points that evaluate learner performance against those defined outcomes. The key is that AI accelerates portions of the production, but instructional design ensures alignment, measurability, and effectiveness.
Verify all compliance content.
AI can generate and organize content, but it does not validate truth. Simply, it predicts language based on patterns. That means it can misinterpret policy, oversimplify legal nuance, or introduce subtle inaccuracies. The instructional designer acts as the intermediary.
We take AI-generated content and structure it for learning, aligning it to objectives, clarifying language, and identifying areas that require verification. The subject matter expert is the authority on accuracy. SMEs are responsible for confirming legal interpretation, validating regulatory terminology, and ensuring the content reflects current institutional policy. In my own practice, the time spent in the back-and-forth communication between AI, SME, and myself has been drastically decreased due to the clear role delineation. Without that final layer of SME validation, compliance training can carry risk. This is not just about quality, it is about institutional accountability.
Source of truth. A person grips their chin.
Front-loading is one of the most important practices when using AI in instructional design. Before prompting begins, we organize and prepare the material that will guide the AI. This includes presentations, scripts, policies, storyboards, examples, past iterations, visuals, and SME notes. The goal is to establish a reliable source of truth before any content is generated. At this stage, the instructional designer is not just collecting files, we are structuring context. We define the audience, tone, learning objectives, constraints, and intended outcomes, so the AI has a controlled framework to work within. Having the SME review this text-based information before development of the course begins is paramount. As chat loss occurs rather quickly in a text-dense back and forth with the AI, it is critical to keep a document outside of the AI tools. Cultivate this document carefully. Things to consider including are instructional design best practices, learning theories, personal styles and preferences, client-preferred styles and preferences, any rules or guidelines required in all the output the AI tool provides, interjections of user prompts if any information is missing, such as learning objectives, learner outcomes, type of material, such as behavior changes or learning information. The quality of the output is directly tied to the quality of the inputs. Strong front-loading reduces hallucinations, improves consistency, and creates more usable first-pass outputs. In practice, the more intentional the preparation process is, the less time is spent correcting and rebuilding content later in development.
Organize.
This step is where most of the quality is determined. We start by front-loading the right inputs. From the SME, we gather all available source material: storyboards, imagery or video, presentations, scripts, past iterations, and real examples or scenarios. This establishes a clear source of truth. From there, AI can support analysis, summarizing content, identifying patterns, and pointing back to source locations. That allows us to identify sequencing, reduce unnecessary redundancy, and address design questions early in the process. Next, the instructional designer builds the prompt. This is not a quick input. It is a structured set of parameters that defines tone, audience, learning objectives, purpose, known gaps, instructional approach, and constraints. That prompt becomes the bridge between the content and the AI. In practice, this often includes reusable prompt structures for consistent outputs, alongside project-specific prompts for the learning experience. When done well, this process produces more accurate, consistent outputs and reduces hallucination risk and chatbot loss. The key takeaway is this: the quality of the output is directly tied to how well the inputs and prompts are constructed. Where we may have put the vast majority of our time as designers on back-end creation deliverable, we are reallocating to front-end preparatory work. As you can see, human intervention is required in all aspects of AI input and output. Creating risk-mitigating pauses from the AI bot to challenge what may be missing or needs elaboration should also be incorporated into creating the source of truth.
Text. Future of AI in compliance training.
When we look at the future of AI in compliance training, the direction is not full automation. It is controlled, iterative development grounded in a source of truth. We are moving toward a model where courses are developed and refined iteration after iteration, with AI supporting updates as regulations change. This could include automated content updates, adaptive learning pathways based on learner performance, AI-generated simulations, and more personalized compliance experiences. However, even as these capabilities expand, human oversight remains essential. Accuracy, regulatory interpretation, and ethical use cannot be delegated to AI. So while AI increases speed and scalability in one area, it does not replace the need for structured inputs and controlled workflows. The use of AI is more of a reallocation of where the designer is spending the bulk of their time.
Thank you for your attention. Hope.
Thank you, Lily. As instructional designers, our role is not simply to use AI. It is to intentionally control how AI is integrated into the learning process. Throughout this presentation, Corey and Lily demonstrated how AI can support compliance training development through structured workflows, instructional design strategy, and deliberate human oversight. AI can accelerate development, organize information, generate assessments, and support iterative course design at a scale that was previously difficult to achieve. But as we have discussed today, instructional design principles, accessibility standards, SME validation, and compliance review remain essential to producing effective learning experiences. The future of AI in instructional design is not about replacing people. It is about creating more efficient, scalable, and repeatable systems that allow instructional designers and subject matter experts to focus more intentionally on learning quality, learner experience, and institutional accountability. Thank you for attending our session.
The human hand reaches toward a robotic hand. Elizabeth Trentham appears in the upper right corner of the slide.
All right, thank you, Corey and Lily, and your agents or your avatars for that session. And thank you everyone for joining. Again, if there are any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and I will send them their way as we wrap up. But with about 1 minute left, we can look forward to our next set of programming as well. In about 10 minutes, it looks like we have sessions on refactoring the course search and enroll, accessible web interfaces, custom fields, and more. So thank you again for attending. And if we can get some applause in the chat for Corey and Lily, thank you very much.
Corey appears.
Thank you.
Corey smiles. She wears headphones and glasses.